A beautiful woman is on a blind date. The man asks her how much cash she has saved up. The woman thinks it's inappropriate to discuss this upon first meeting. The man then inquires about her profession. She is a civil servant with modest income but stable employment nonetheless. He is satisfied with her job. Before the woman could speak, the man comments on her age, hoping she would immediately try to conceive after marriage. The woman quickly interrupts him, stating she is a firm believer in remaining unmarried. She came out today merely to meet men, to date if suitable, or have a casual encounter if attracted. Before leaving, she mocks the man, saying if everyone could marry, it would cause severe social issues. Jung Ha-na, 29 years old, is a staunch singlehood advocate. As a civil servant, her salary isn't much, but as she isn't planning to marry or have children, she spends her money freely and lives a carefree life. After her day job, Jung Ha-na usually goes to the gym, then to a recording studio to sing, and ends her day with a beer on the couch, contemplating her life goals. She plans to save money and live as a street performer in the Mediterranean countryside after retirement. To maintain her pleasant single life, Jung Ha-na must keep her civil servant job. However, one day, a man visits her department looking for the team leader, who had secretly left early. The man then comes in with a bucket of waste, which ends up on Jung Ha-na. She considers herself unlucky, changes her clothes, and then sees a notice at the city hall about forming a marriage fraud promotion team directly under the mayor, meant to push civil servants to encourage citizens to marry, with a promise of high marks in personnel evaluations for participants. Jung Ha-na is indifferent to this, as the fear of marriage is increasing among young people, and playing matchmaker is a thankless task. While she is reading the notice, the team leader calls, and it happens that Jung Ha-na's phone is on her desk. The team leader sees that he has been saved in her phone as Brat. He pretends to be magnanimous, asking Jung Ha-na to express any complaints about him. She mentions that whenever there's a difficult complaint, he disappears to the restroom, leaving the hard work to his subordinates. That afternoon, Jung Ha-na is transferred to the marriage fraud promotion team, feeling helpless as a non-believer in marriage, forced to play matchmaker. 3 years ago, Jung Ha-na wasn't determined against marriage, working at a marriage agency under performance pressure. She introduced a woman to a man of poor character, resulting in the woman being mistreated. At that time, Jung Ha-na was about to marry her boyfriend, with wedding invitations already printed, but he cheated on her the day they were to send out the invites, which led her to lose all desire for marriage. Now a person indifferent to marriage, she is forced to discuss how to push the mayor's marriage promotion project in a team meeting. According to her research, more than half of the interviewees in their 20s and 30s believe marriage is not necessary. In an environment where fear of marriage is prevalent, how is it possible to advance the mayor's marriage promotion project? The mayor brought some materials instructing the team to start with a young man named Bong Cheol-hee. A documentary had been made about him. Bong Cheol-hee was born on a small island and was of marriageable age. He cares for his nephews and nieces daily, eager to marry but unable to find a partner. The mayor planned to use Bong Cheol-hee as a breakthrough, assigning Jung Ha-na, with her matchmaking experience, to find him a wife. The mayor promised a special reward if Jung Ha-na completed the task. After weighing her options, Jung Ha-na decided to accept the task, hoping to be transferred to her desired department upon completion. The mayor agreed. Jung Ha-na reviewed the information and took a boat to Bong Cheol-hee's island the next day. Upon arriving, she met a young man wielding an axe, talking on the phone about harshly splitting something and burying it. Jung Ha-na imagined a scene from a movie involving dismemberment, and startled, she fell. Before the man approached, she quickly left the area. Despite feeling uneasy about the island, she continued her mission. Jung Ha-na contacted the village head to explain her purpose and inquire about Bong Cheol-hee's whereabouts. Soon after, the axe-wielding young man reappeared. Jung Ha-na then learned. This rough and fierce-looking guy was Bong Cheol-hee. She introduced herself and her purpose. The naive Bong Cheol-hee thought Jung Ha-na was a scammer and demanded to see her civil servant ID. Jung Ha-na accurately named her department and reiterated her purpose. Bong Cheol-hee couldn't understand why a civil servant would help him marry. An anxious Jung Ha-na snatched Bong Cheol-hee's phone, demanding he listen to her before it accidentally dropped and broke. Bong Cheol-hee hurriedly picked up his damaged phone, feeling very upset. Then, a broadcast on the island announced, congratulating Bong Cheol-hee on his upcoming marriage. Bong Cheol-hee quickly moved away from Jung Ha-na, yet was convinced she wasn't deceiving him. Jung Ha-na handed Bong Cheol-hee an application, just fill in the information, and the city hall would find him a suitable marriage partner. Bong Cheol-hee returned the materials to Jung Ha-na, stating he never said he wanted to marry. The previous documentary had exaggerated his desire for marriage. Jung Ha-na quickly grabbed Bong Cheol-hee's hand, explaining the various benefits of marriage, like emotional and ideological support from a spouse. Just then, a text about her nightly singing class arrived. If she didn't leave the island soon, she would miss today's lesson. Thinking of this, Jung Ha-na hurriedly grabbed Bong Cheol-hee's wrist, asking if there was a spare room in his house. Determined to leave the marriage fraud promotion team, Jung Ha-na vowed to get Bong Cheol-hee married no matter what. Bong Cheol-hee's house was small but warm. Upon their first meeting, Bong Cheol-hee prepared a delicious meal for Jung Ha-na. His nephews and nieces mistakenly thought Jung Ha-na was their uncle's girlfriend, sweetly stating there would be no problem living with her. Bong Cheol-hee, always single, was very shy. After dinner, Bong Cheol-hee asked Jung Ha-na if she was married. Facing Bong Cheol-hee, Jung Ha-na shared her personal woes, including her failed matchmaking experiences and her boyfriend's infidelity. Jung Ha-na currently believes she is not qualified to marry. To her, marriage means trust and responsibility, and only those who can make each other happy should marry. Although she doesn't know Bong Cheol-hee well, witnessing his responsibility towards his family makes her believe he is a reliable and good person. Bong Cheol-hee smiles honestly, admitting he is not only a good person, but also faithful. Jung Ha-na returns to her workplace, planning to observe Bong Cheol-hee's situation in a few days. Unexpectedly, the next day, she receives a call that Bong Cheol-hee is waiting for her downstairs. Happily, he hands her a completed marriage application, ready to marry and test his eligibility for marriage. Jung Ha-na is thrilled. Suddenly, a man behind her softly calls her name. She turns around to see her ex-boyfriend who had cheated on her. Jung Ha-na slaps him, believing it's what he owes her. Bong Cheol-hee rushes back, thinking Jung Ha-na is being harassed. She takes his arm and tells her ex that Bong Cheol-hee is her fiancé. Both men are shocked. Jung Ha-na pretends to be affectionate with Bong Cheol-hee, lying that he is her fiancé. After her ex leaves, the honest Bong Cheol-hee asks when they're marrying, praising the efficiency of civil servants, and cheerfully leaves to prepare for the wedding. Jung Ha-na is still processing when she discovers her ex, Choi Ki-jun, is the new head of the marriage morale team. Jung Ha-na avoids being alone with Choi Ki-jun. After work, she returns to the office for her forgotten phone, and Choi Ki-jun grabs her arm. She coldly states she has moved on from the past. Choi Ki-jun recalls her trying on a wedding dress 3 years ago, beautiful and seemingly within reach of happiness. Despite her rejection, he doesn't plan to give up. The next day, Choi Ki-jun visits the staff dormitory to help Jung Ha-na pack, as it was designated for Bong Cheol-hee during his matchmaking period. He changes a light bulb and invites her to dinner, which she declines. On a small island, Bong Cheol-hee packs clothes and brings his niece and nephew to town with Jung Ha-na's favorite dishes. The next morning, Jung Ha-na picks them up. Her niece asks if Jung Ha-na would take responsibility if her matchmaking failed. Jung Ha-na laughs and changes the subject. Later, they arrive at the dormitory where Bong Cheol-hee invites her to stay for dinner because of his delicious cooking. She enjoys a large bowl, and as they are about to part, Choi Ki-jun reappears. Bong Cheol-hee immediately hugs Jung Ha-na, but upon learning of Choi Ki-jun's role as team leader, he politely shakes hands with him. Choi Ki-jun hints that he has moved into the dormitory next to Bong Cheol-hee. The following Monday, under Choi Ki-jun's lead, the team begins selecting suitable matchmaking candidates for Bong Cheol-hee. The team received several matchmaking applications, all from women interested in meeting Bong Cheol-hee. To match Bong Cheol-hee's needs, Jung Ha-na had him fill out a matchmaking questionnaire with options A or B for each question, which he took seriously, marking his preferences, such as whether he likes clingy partners or prefers independence. The team members assisted in filtering the female candidates, but found that most came with ulterior motives like influencers looking to promote their channels. Only one woman seemed suitable. Meanwhile, Jung Ha-na reflected on her own thoughts about marriage. Before her ex-boyfriend cheated, She had dreamed of a warm, happy marital life, including a boyfriend cooking delicious meals for her. Although her dreams were shattered, she didn't regret her current decisions. The day after tomorrow was the matchmaking day. Bong Cheol-hee asked Jung Ha-na to accompany him to the mall to pick out suitable clothes. Jung Ha-na agreed and chose a white shirt for him, but noticed scars all over his back. After shopping, she reassured Bong Cheol-hee not to be nervous about the upcoming date. Bong Cheol-hee joked that Jung Ha-na once claimed he was her fiancé, and their playful exchange was seen by Choi Ki-jun, who felt jealous. On the other side, the daughter of a corporate president, Oh In-ah, was also matchmaking but hadn't found a suitable match yet. Just after declining a date, a man shouted a warning and pushed Oh In-ah aside, saving her from a falling safety helmet. This man, who looked like a wealthy heir and was actually Bong Cheol-hee, had just straightened his hair, looking very handsome. Soon after, water spilled on him, but he was more concerned about a scratch on Oh In-ah than his own appearance. He offered her a band-aid and left casually. The incident made him revert to his untidy look, wearing a plaid shirt and padded jacket, with his hair back to its natural curls. To make a good impression on his date, Bong Cheol-hee planned to tell some corny jokes, which Jung Ha-na immediately vetoed, advising him to just relax. The entire marriage team pretended to be customers at the restaurant to observe Bong Cheol-hee's date. His date, a gentle and beautiful woman, expressed her desire for a partner like homemade food, sharing meals and small joys of daily life. Bong Cheol-hee, who excels at cooking, was moved and agreed with her views on marriage. The team was nervous, hoping the date wouldn't fail. It went well, and they even agreed to meet again. After the date, Jung Ha-na took Bong Cheol-hee for a homemade meal at a restaurant, not at home. Bong Cheol-hee tried the food and loved it, feeling it truly had the essence of homemade cuisine. Jung Ha-na says, home cooking doesn't have to be eaten at home. As long as you're with people you're comfortable and happy with, any meal can feel like home cooking. The owner of the restaurant is a close friend of Jung Ha-na, almost like family, which is why Jung Ha-na always enjoys eating here before heading home each night. Bong Cheol-hee shares his thoughts, emphasizing the importance of home cooking. On today's matchmaking questionnaire, under the question, "What do you think marriage is?" Bong Cheol-hee wrote, "Marriage is like home cooking." He shares Jung Ha-na's vision of a simple, fulfilling happiness, hoping to comfortably share meals with his other half. Jung Ha-na recalls the woman's words from the matchmaking event. The woman had a very good impression of Bong Cheol-hee. During their meeting, Bong Cheol-hee served her warm water instead of cold, a detail that highlighted his gentle nature beneath his simple appearance. Bong Cheol-hee enjoys taking his nieces and nephews out shopping. When a kindergarten bus broke down by the roadside, leaving the children stranded, Bong Cheol-hee quickly fetched shopping carts from a supermarket. He let the children sit in the carts and held their hands, carefully helping them across the street. Jung Ha-na, passing by, found the honest Bong Cheol-hee especially endearing in this moment. The scene of Bong Cheol-hee helping the children cross the street was captured by passers-by and shared online. Thanks to these heartwarming photos, Bong Cheol-hee became a social media sensation again and earned a new nickname, Adorable Shopping Man. Oh In-ah saw the news and realized that the adorable shopping man was the prince who had saved her during the day. She felt very moved and went to Bong Cheol-hee's dorm that evening, only to find Jung Ha-na there as well. However, when Jung Ha-na opened the door, she was shocked to see Oh In-ah, the woman who had cheated with her ex-boyfriend Choi Ki-jun 3 years ago. At that moment, Choi Ki-jun also happened to pass by, seeing the woman and man who had betrayed him, filling Jung Ha-na with anger. Last night, Jung Ha-na visited Bong Cheol-hee's house for work. Unexpectedly, the wealthy Oh In-ah also arrived at Bong Cheol-hee's place. Jung Ha-na was displeased as Oh In-ah was involved in an affair with her ex-boyfriend years ago. Despite the past, Oh In-ah cheerfully brought Bong Cheol-hee a fruit basket. Yesterday, Bong Cheol-hee transported kindergartners using a supermarket cart, creating excellent publicity. That supermarket belongs to Oh In-ah's family. When leaving, Oh In-ah told Jung Ha-na they would meet again, but Jung Ha-na was uninterested. Before Jung Ha-na could go home, Oh In-ah waited to talk about the past. Jung Ha-na remained upset and expressed disinterest in discussing her ex and Oh In-ah's affair. Oh In-ah realized Jung Ha-na was not merely uninterested, but afraid of learning the true reason behind her breakup. That evening, Jung Ha-na pondered Oh In-ah's words. After discovering the affair, her boyfriend cut off his phone and sold their intended marital home. This led to Jung Ha-na's complete disappointment, though it was a misunderstanding. Her ex, Choi Ki-jun, was speaking with Oh In-ah, who asked him to arrange an introduction with Bong Cheol-hee, whom she liked after a chance encounter. At the marriage fraud promotion team meeting the next day, Choi Ki-jun mentioned Oh In-ah's interest in Bong Cheol-hee, but Jung Ha-na opposed it, believing Oh In-ah's wealthy background made her insincere about Bong Cheol-hee. Choi Ki-jun revealed he suggested this to help Jung Ha-na leave the team and find happiness, but she dismissed his concern as insincere. That night, at a restaurant, Choi Ki-jun, drunk and reflecting on their past marriage plans, apologized to Jung Ha-na and revealed the breakup's true reason. His family went bankrupt, forcing him to sell their home to pay his father's debts and stage an affair with Oh In-ah to push Jung Ha-na away, sparing her from his financial ruin. Choi Ki-jun collapsed from drunkenness, and just then, Bong Cheol-hee arrived and carried him home. Jung Ha-na couldn't sleep last night because of what Choi Ki-jun said. She wondered if she could have endured everything had Choi Ki-jun been honest with her from the start. She questioned whether she could have married without money. Jung Ha-na didn't have an answer to this question, but soon she posed it to Bong Cheol-hee. The next morning, Jung Ha-na asked Bong Cheol-hee if he would marry someone richer than himself. To her surprise, Bong Cheol-hee immediately said he would. Jung Ha-na was somewhat displeased, thinking that even the seemingly simple and modest Bong Cheol-hee liked wealthy people. Bong Cheol-hee explained that it's not necessary to discriminate based on someone's economic status. What mattered to him was not the amount of money, but being spiritually rich. Jung Ha-na nodded in agreement. Impressed by Bong Cheol-hee's attitude, the marriage fraud promotion team accepted Oh In-ah's marriage application. Upon reviewing it, Jung Ha-na saw that Oh In-ah had an annual salary of 300 million and owned a house of 80 square meters. Oh In-ah was indeed a very wealthy and beautiful woman. Her requirements for an ideal partner, like curly hair and being good with children, all described Bong Cheol-hee. Apart from Bong Cheol-hee, Oh In-ah had no other requirements. Jung Ha-na agreed to upload Oh In-ah's profile after a proper review. Later, she relayed Oh In-ah's expectations to Bong Cheol-hee, who was not surprised. He didn't mind whether his match was a wealthy chaebol or an ordinary person. The most important thing was the person themselves. Jung Ha-na told Bong Cheol-hee that Oh In-ah was not a bad person, and he responded that he would treat her like an ordinary person and consider her positively. While helping Bong Cheol-hee with matchmaking, Jung Ha-na's own relationship seemed to progress. After clearing up the misunderstanding about the affair, her relationship with Choi Ki-jun deepened. In the elevator, they were squeezed together, and Choi Ki-jun protectively placed his hand against the elevator wall around Jung Ha-na. Although Jung Ha-na said it was best to forget the past for both of their sakes, her expression showed some delight. That night, Choi Ki-jun drank with Oh In-ah, who looked troubled while holding her phone. After submitting her marriage application, Oh In-ah could have pressed the match request button on her phone system, but she hesitated. She was worried that her possessions might pressure Bong Cheol-hee. Meanwhile, Choi Ki-jun was also thinking about Jung Ha-na, feeling that she and Bong Cheol-hee were becoming too close and thinking of ways to separate them. In addition to Bong Cheol-hee, Na Ji-won also submitted an application to the matchmaking department, hoping to find a match. Everyone saw that Na Ji-won was only 20 years old. Despite her young age, Na Ji-won's criteria for a partner were quite pragmatic. She required that her match be wealthy or a high earner. After submitting her application, Na Ji-won frequently called the marriage promotion department to inquire about the progress. Seeing no response from the department, Na Ji-won angrily came to question them. She believed they just needed to choose the best conditioned male applicant for her. In Na Ji-won's view, in a capitalist society, economic conditions should be considered first, and everything else is unimportant. Na Ji-won even developed her own method of judging men by looking at their shoes, believing she could determine a man's wealth and social status through his footwear. Dreaming of marrying into a wealthy family, Na Ji-won secretly looked at the department's application forms and identified a wealthy man. That evening, she took the initiative to meet with him. The man was an ugly, middle-aged male. Na Ji-won directly asked about his occupation and annual income. Learning that the man earned $200 billion a year and owned 5 luxury cars, Na Ji-won was almost certain she would marry this wealthy man. Unexpectedly, the man also had demands for women, such as maintaining a weight under 45 kilograms and having long black hair, not short. He said he would manage the money while the woman would need to manage her figure. To verify if the woman met his criteria, he requested to spend the evening alone with her. Understanding his insinuation, Na Ji-won angrily left, but the man grabbed her, not letting her go. At this moment, Jung Ha-na and Bong Cheol-hee appeared. It turned out that just then, Jung Ha-na's colleague had seen Na Ji-won meeting secretly with the man. The colleague exposed the man's lie. His claimed annual income was found to be false upon investigation. The man reluctantly left. Jung Ha-na advised Na Ji-won that external wealth and material things can disappear at any time. Bong Cheol-hee also said what's important is not the economic status of the other party, but finding someone who can stay by your side and make you happy in the long run. Na Ji-won nodded understandingly, and Jung Ha-na was also moved by Bong Cheol-hee's words, realizing the true importance of spiritual richness. That evening, Jung Ha-na told Choi Ki-jun that what Bong Cheol-hee cared most about was whether the relationship with Oh In-ah could continue if her external material conditions disappeared. Choi Ki-jun approached Jung Ha-na warmly and firmly, stating that he could now also overlook external material conditions. Jung Ha-na was about to find Bong Cheol-hee, but saw him being escorted into a car by 2 bodyguards. Recalling the scars on Bong Cheol-hee's back and other details, Jung Ha-na began to doubt him. Therefore, during the meeting of the marriage fraud promotion team, Jung Ha-na was distracted, speculating about Bong Cheol-hee's story. The meeting concluded with all members unanimously selecting Bong Cheol-hee as the promotional ambassador for the marriage project. Jung Ha-na and her former boyfriend and department head, Choi Ki-jun, were responsible for photographing Bong Cheol-hee's promotional images. Before the photo shoot, Bong Cheol-hee was visibly melancholic. In fact, the previous night he had been invited to a chairman's home. The chairman, who was acquainted with Bong Cheol-hee from the past, was keen to know about his progress in arranged dating. He even mentioned someone who seemed to be on Bong Cheol-hee's mind. Jung Ha-na went to the makeup room to find Bong Cheol-hee and once again saw the scars on his back. Bong Cheol-hee, unconcerned, found it odd that Jung Ha-na was always interested in looking at his body. After changing clothes and styling his hair, Bong Cheol-hee came downstairs. Jung Ha-na was surprised to see him in a suit, with his curly hair straightened and shimmering, looking like a male star. As Bong Cheol-hee began his photo shoot, his inexperience showed with his stiff movements. The photographer asked Jung Ha-na to step in front of the camera to help Bong Cheol-hee pose. Just as Jung Ha-na was about to step forward, Choi Ki-jun raised his hand, volunteering to assist Bong Cheol-hee instead. Choi Ki-jun did not want Jung Ha-na getting too close to Bong Cheol-hee. With Choi Ki-jun's help, Bong Cheol-hee quickly became more proficient, and they managed to capture a perfect promotional photo resembling a marriage proposal. Meanwhile, the marriage fraud promotion team's website had issues, preventing data upload. The team leader found out that the web management company had gone out of business and pleaded with the team members not to inform the head, fearing punishment. At the same time, Na Ji-won, who had always aspired to marry into wealth, introduced her uncle to the team. Her uncle, a computer engineer, could potentially fix the faulty website. After the shoot, to buy time for the team leader, Jung Ha-na and Choi Ki-jun went to retrieve the prepared promotional posters. They then met with Bong Cheol-hee, who had recently taken a chef's job at Jung Ha-na's friend's restaurant. While posting the posters in the restaurant, Jung Ha-na casually asked Bong Cheol-hee if something had happened. He remained upbeat and jokingly responded to her probes. After some time, the website was still not fixed. Taking advantage of the head's absence, Jung Ha-na met with the uncle, promising to help him find a marriage partner if he could quickly repair the site. Coincidentally, the uncle fell in love at first sight with a beautiful woman who came to submit her application. Motivated by love, he swiftly fixed the website. Jung Ha-na then messaged Bong Cheol-hee that Oh In-ah, after some hesitation, had clicked the like heart for him on the website. If Bong Cheol-hee wanted to continue contact with Oh In-ah, he needed to confirm the heart and accept the match. Looking at Oh In-ah's photo on the website, Bong Cheol-hee thought back to the chairman's concern about his marriage the previous night. Oh In-ah came to the restaurant where Bong Cheol-hee cooked a delicious meal for her. She asked him why he hadn't accepted her love match yet, wondering if he didn't like her. Bong Cheol-hee shook his head because he had seen her views on marriage on her profile card. 2. Oh In-ah. Marriage is a lifelong commitment based on mutual trust. As a wealthy individual, she has met many who approached her for money, making it hard to trust others. Oh In-ah joked, asking if Bong Cheol-hee's nieces and nephews were actually his own children. Surprisingly, Bong Cheol-hee said yes, causing Oh In-ah to spill water in shock. Bong Cheol-hee quickly wiped up the spill, clarifying that he treats his nieces and nephews like his own children. Seeing the foolish yet adorable man in front of her, Oh In-ah felt her heart flutter again, and her heart rate monitor showed an increase as Bong Cheol-hee looked at her affectionately. Oh In-ah expressed a desire to date Bong Cheol-hee and get to know him better. Before leaving work at the marriage fraud promotion team, Choi Ki-jun asked Jung Ha-na to stay behind. He knew that she had been keeping him occupied to help the team leader all day. However, Choi Ki-jun wasn't upset and gently suggested they have dinner together. Jung Ha-na didn't agree, but took him to a street where they used to date. This street was filled with memories of their past romance. Jung Ha-na still remembered how her boyfriend had confessed his love at a coffee shop there. She apologized to Choi Ki-jun for the first time, reflecting on the past. If she had known about Choi Ki-jun's family bankruptcy before their planned marriage, she wouldn't have accepted it. Now, both had changed, and Jung Ha-na wanted to leave the past behind and maintain only a senior-junior relationship with Choi Ki-jun. After saying goodbye, Jung Ha-na felt someone following her as she walked home. Hiding in an alley, she saw Bong Cheol-hee, and feeling scared, her legs weakened. Bong Cheol-hee escorted her home. Jung Ha-na asked if he had something to say, being near her home. Bong Cheol-hee hesitated and lied about just taking a walk. At a marriage fraud promotion team meeting, Choi Ki-jun informed the members that the uncle who had fixed the website had submitted a marriage application, hoping to find a match through the team. Jung Ha-na arranged for the uncle's matchmaking session to take place at the restaurant where Bong Cheol-hee worked. Seeing the promotional posters on the wall, the uncle recognized Chef Bong Cheol-hee as the promotional ambassador and shared his thoughts with him. The uncle valued honesty and hoped to find a sincere relationship, much like programming where input yields an output. His attitude towards marriage touched Bong Cheol-hee. Lies lead to secrets, and too many secrets can cause misunderstandings. Encouraged by Bong Cheol-hee, the uncle bravely clicked the heart icon to apply for a match on his favorite woman's profile. Luckily, she immediately accepted the pairing. The next day, under the arrangement of Jung Ha-na and others, the uncle and the woman started their official blind date. Seeing the two were a bit nervous, Bong Cheol-hee stepped forward to recommend dishes to them. Perhaps it was fate. The homebody and the beautiful woman got along very well. In their conversation, they discovered that each was exactly the type the other had been hoping to find. Watching the blind date, Jung Ha-na felt mixed emotions. Now she increasingly valued the importance of trust, realizing that trust between two people is mutual. That evening, Bong Cheol-hee's niece told him that timing is the most important thing in love. Reminded by his niece, Bong Cheol-hee hurried to the bottom of Jung Ha-na's apartment building to confess something to her. However, before he could speak, a car in the garage suddenly made a noise. Bong Cheol-hee quickly shielded Jung Ha-na like a gentleman, softly telling her not to look. Jung Ha-na did not know that the car behind her had been vandalized with offensive words. The police checked the surveillance footage but couldn't clearly see the face of the person making graffiti because they were holding an umbrella. After a harassment incident, Bong Cheol-hee revealed a secret to Jung Ha-na. It turns out that until 5 years ago, Bong Cheol-hee was a firefighter living in Seoul. During a fire call, his girlfriend phoned him, urging him to return for a meeting with both of their parents. Focused on fighting the fire, Bong Cheol-hee ignored her calls, leading her to angrily break up with him. The men in black who visited Bong Cheol-hee days ago were sent by a chairman whose life Bong Cheol-hee had saved from a fire, risking his own life and receiving a scar on his back as a result. Sadly, that evening, his girlfriend died in a car accident. After that, Bong Cheol-hee resigned and left Seoul to live on an island. Jung Ha-na comforted him by gently patting his arm, recognizing that Bong Cheol-hee is a kind and good person. Jung Ha-na couldn't sleep that night. constantly thinking about Bong Cheol-hee protecting her earlier. The next day, she took her car for repairs. The mechanic suggested the car was too old and encouraged Jung Ha-na to let go of her attachment and consider buying a new one. This made Jung Ha-na reflect on whether relationships also have an expiration date and whether she should move on or embrace a new life. At work, Oh In-ah was already waiting in the office because she had matched with Bong Cheol-hee. She hoped Jung Ha-na would arrange a blind date for them the next day and insisted on deciding the time and place herself, with no staff from the marriage fraud promotion team present. On the day of the date, Oh In-ah waited outside Bong Cheol-hee's apartment early in the morning and drove him to the venue. During the drive, Bong Cheol-hee began sharing his past as a firefighter, but Oh In-ah mistakenly thought he quit due to low salary. For the blind date, Oh In-ah had rented out an entire restaurant. During their conversation, they discussed their preferences in partners. Bong Cheol-hee liked someone who, even if the passion waned, would plan a future together, while Oh In-ah seemed filled with personal fantasies about marriage, liking someone intriguing and fun. Meanwhile, Jung Ha-na was spending a rare weekend, oddly preoccupied with thoughts of Bong Cheol-hee and Oh In-ah's date progress. To distract herself, she decided to resume her old routines, returning to music school and visiting bookstores. However, a mysterious man was quietly following her throughout the day. In the bookstore, the man reported everything Jung Ha-na did that day to someone else and was caught by Jung Ha-na. Hurriedly, he explained and called someone. To Jung Ha-na's surprise, it was Bong Cheol-hee on the line. It turned out the man was a friend sent by Bong Cheol-hee to protect Jung Ha-na. Seeing Bong Cheol-hee constantly answering calls and messages for Jung Ha-na, Oh In-ah felt a bit displeased. During lunch, Jung Ha-na arrived at her best friend's restaurant with a man, only to find her ex, Choi Ki-jun, also there. He had come to the restaurant hours earlier, hoping for a chance encounter with Jung Ha-na. Seeing her with another man, Choi Ki-jun stared intently at her. Her observant best friend quickly escorted Choi Ki-jun out of the restaurant. During a matchmaking session, Oh In-ah brought up Bong Cheol-hee's niece and nephew. Bong Cheol-hee revealed that his parents had died when he was very young, and he and his brother had relied on each other. Now that his brother was gone, he felt obligated to care for his niece and nephew. Oh In-ah subtly expressed her concerns about their presence, suggesting that the children could complicate Bong Cheol-hee's future and add pressure to her own life if they married. After Choi Ki-jun left, the best friend tried to set up Jung Ha-na with Bong Cheol-hee's friend. Young and single, he was immediately asked by the best friend if he was interested in joining the city's marriage project. He was open to marriage but felt too restless at present, viewing relationships as fleeting interests, let alone marriage. However, he now seemed interested in Jung Ha-na's mature and beautiful best friend. As they chatted, Jung Ha-na pondered what sustains a relationship after the initial thrill fades in marriage. She couldn't find an answer. That evening, as Bong Cheol-hee and Oh In-ah's date was about to end, Oh In-ah suggested going to a bar. Reluctantly, Bong Cheol-hee agreed. At the bar, Oh In-ah confessed her feelings again, enjoying the thrill of being with Bong Cheol-hee. Meanwhile, Choi Ki-jun waited outside Jung Ha-na's house, mentioning that Oh In-ah never took friends to that bar, suggesting the date went well. Jung Ha-na, worried Oh In-ah might take advantage of an intoxicated Bong Cheol-hee, hurried to the bar to check on them. She saw Oh In-ah leaning on Bong Cheol-hee's shoulder, but before she could approach, Bong Cheol-hee's friend pulled her away. He had agreed with Bong Cheol-hee to safely escort Jung Ha-na home. It was late, and to avoid danger, he got her a taxi to go home immediately. Back home, Jung Ha-na couldn't sleep, still preoccupied with thoughts of Bong Cheol-hee and Oh In-ah's date, and wondering why she cared so much. The next day, Bong Cheol-hee's friend submitted a marriage application at the city hall. However, in conversation, Jung Ha-na's colleague realized that Bong Cheol-hee's friend had no real concept of marriage and was not prepared to commit to anyone. During lunch, Bong Cheol-hee brought a lunchbox for Jung Ha-na and updated her on his blind date from the previous day. He mentioned they had agreed to meet again today, which made Jung Ha-na look displeased once more. In the evening, a police officer brought Bong Cheol-hee the results of an investigation. The malicious graffiti on Jung Ha-na's car the night before was done by a young man. After seeing the man's face in the video, Bong Cheol-hee recognized him. Meanwhile, Oh In-ah was on her way to meet Bong Cheol-hee when she received a message from him saying he had urgent matters to attend to and had to cancel their meeting. Bong Cheol-hee was now rushing to Jung Ha-na's house, fearing she might be in danger. On his way, Bong Cheol-hee encountered someone who ran upon seeing him. He caught the man and recognized him as the one from the video, who turned out to be his ex-girlfriend's brother. Just then, the brother had sent a package to Jung Ha-na containing photos of her and Bong Cheol-hee during their passionate relationship. Bong Cheol-hee told Jung Ha-na about the man's identity, but the brother was resentful. He couldn't bear that Bong Cheol-hee, who was supposed to be his brother-in-law, was already looking for someone to marry not long after his sister's death. The brother blamed Jung Ha-na for luring Bong Cheol-hee to Seoul and felt that Bong Cheol-hee shouldn't easily forget his sister or date others so soon. Bong Cheol-hee explained that he hadn't forgotten his past love or her death. Jung Ha-na supported him, saying people can't live in sadness forever. Despite the pain, there should be a limit. Dragging it out only deepens the wound. The brother felt comforted by her words, and Jung Ha-na got her repaired car back. That night, as Bong Cheol-hee got into Jung Ha-na's car, he struggled with the tight seatbelt, which Jung Ha-na helped adjust. Their bodies came close together for a moment before they quickly moved apart, feeling an involuntary attraction and trying to remain calm. Just then, Bong Cheol-hee saw that his niece and nephew seemed to have been taken away by a man. He immediately went to look for the children and fortunately found them safe at a bus station. He was stern, worried about them being deceived by bad people. Jung Ha-na approached and comforted the children in a sisterly tone, understanding how important they were to Bong Cheol-hee. While Bong Cheol-hee was busy with marriage plans, Jung Ha-na also met men for arranged dates. Her latest match was a gentle and considerate man, and they both felt good about each other. However, Jung Ha-na always felt uncomfortable around him. The next day, Bong Cheol-hee called Jung Ha-na, planning to invite Oh In-ah over for a homemade meal and to formally meet his niece and nephew. Jung Ha-na felt somewhat unhappy about their fast progress but agreed to Bong Cheol-hee's idea, feeling responsible. After work, Jung Ha-na went shopping at the supermarket and happened to meet Bong Cheol-hee. He was there to buy groceries to host Oh In-ah. They shopped together and shared dating recipes, even sampling food together. The staff mistook them for a happily married couple. On the way home, Jung Ha-na appeared relaxed and comfortable around Bong Cheol-hee. In the evening, Oh In-ah visited Bong Cheol-hee's home for a date, where his niece and nephew were present. Oh In-ah talked about the children's parents and hinted that an uncle is different from a parent. Despite making a delicious dinner, Oh In-ah was slightly upset, having expected a date alone with Bong Cheol-hee, not with his niece and nephew. She kept her feelings to herself but was still quite pleased with Bong Cheol-hee. After the date, Oh In-ah mentioned an upcoming interview to promote their relationship on TV, which the City Hall planned to boost with a reality TV feature. Jung Ha-na opposed this, concerned about using the children as promotional tools. Despite Bong Cheol-hee's reluctance, Oh In-ah had already agreed to the interview to announce their relationship publicly. The next morning, Bong Cheol-hee brought Jung Ha-na a homemade lunchbox with her favorite dishes and sought her opinion about the interview with Oh In-ah. Jung Ha-na had mixed feelings. As the matchmaker, she was not in favor of the media exposure at such an early stage of their acquaintance, but personally supported the interview to expedite her return to her regular department. Soon, the documentary producer arrived at the City Hall, planning not just an interview but also a documentary about Bong Cheol-hee and Oh In-ah. Oh In-ah appeared on camera discussing various topics about marriage, emphasizing her desire for a partner who genuinely loves her, not just a suitable match for the conglomerate. Oh In-ah then schemed to send Bong Cheol-hee's niece and nephew abroad with their father, offering him money for this purpose. Unfortunately for her, Jung Ha-na witnessed this scene. Jung Ha-na opposes Oh In-ah's approach. She believes Bong Cheol-hee's niece and nephew are important to him, and that he wants to be responsible for the children's lives. However, Oh In-ah criticizes Jung Ha-na for being naive, citing her breakup with Choi Ki-jun due to the harsh realities of marriage. She points out that Bong Cheol-hee's brother experienced similar issues, with both spouses initially sharing responsibilities equally. only to be ultimately defeated by reality. For Oh-in-ah, marriage is full of contradictions and crises. Despite this, she promises not to let Bong Cheol-hee worry about money and hopes to start fresh with him, maintaining her idealistic views on marriage. Oh-in-ah's rebuttal leaves Jung Ha-na speechless. That evening, Jung Ha-na browses online forums discussing marriage and divorce, which often focus on the importance of money. She wonders if removing financial issues would allow marital fantasies to last longer. Bong Cheol-hee also contemplates this as he chats with the restaurant owner and Jung Ha-na's close friend, who is a divorcee. Her friend had hoped that money would lead to a happy marriage, but found herself arguing daily over minor issues. Despite her disillusionment with her previous marriage, Jung Ha-na's friend still holds hope for marriage, but now understands that money can't solve all problems. She wishes to marry someone she is comfortable with next time. Meanwhile, the documentary about Bong Cheol-hee and Oh-in-ah continues, and the mayor invites Jung Ha-na for a meeting to praise her work and promises to transfer her to her desired department in 2 weeks. Looking at the scheduled date in her calendar fills Jung Ha-na with excitement as she prepares to wrap up her work and return to her planned perfect life. However, thinking of Bong Cheol-hee and her recent insights into marriage, Jung Ha-na sincerely hopes for his happiness. Tonight, the documentary focuses on Bong Cheol-hee, who describes his ideal marriage as simple daily routines like chatting, eating, and walking together after work, finding relaxation and healing in each other's company. During the shoot, Oh-in-ah unexpectedly joins in, and the producer decides to include a segment of her and Bong Cheol-hee talking after drinking. Before the shoot, Bong Cheol-hee tries to call home but can't reach his niece and nephew. Worried, he asks Jung Ha-na to check on them. When she arrives at his house, she finds the children gone, and a note on the table indicating that they have been taken away. Realizing Bong Cheol-hee's brother must have taken them, Jung Ha-na tries to contact Bong Cheol-hee, but he doesn't answer as he is busy filming. As Jung Ha-na thought, the brother was driving the 2 children to the airport to keep his promise to Oh-in-ah. On the way, the children cried nonstop, unwilling to leave Uncle Bong Cheol-hee. Despite their protests, their father ignored them and forcibly took them to the airport, claiming that Uncle Bong Cheol-hee could only be happy if the children were not around. Fortunately, Jung Ha-na arrived in time and explained that Bong Cheol-hee had never said such a thing. The children quietly stood by Jung Ha-na, and their father left angrily. On the way back, Jung Ha-na realized the answer to her question about marriage. It cannot be sustained by one person's fantasies alone, and money does not guarantee a perfect marriage. Happiness comes from facing and accepting each other completely. Meanwhile, during the documentary shoot, Oh-in-ah made a drunk Bong Cheol-hee drink 1 last glass of alcohol, declaring that once he drank it, they would officially be a couple. Suddenly, Jung Ha-na arrived at the restaurant and loudly opposed Bong Cheol-hee being with Oh-in-ah. A drunk Bong Cheol-hee collapsed into Jung Ha-na's arms. At that moment, Oh-in-ah received a message from Bong Cheol-hee's brother and learned that Jung Ha-na had thwarted her plan. Instantly, an angry Oh-in-ah stood up and glared at Jung Ha-na with fury. Jung Ha-na helped Bong Cheol-hee get home. She had already agreed with Bong Cheol-hee's niece and nephew that they would not tell him about their biological father taking them away tonight. Jung Ha-na kept the promise. The next day, she brought breakfast to Bong Cheol-hee without mentioning anything, and they had a warm breakfast together. It felt like Jung Ha-na, Bong Cheol-hee, and the 2 children were a family. Oh-in-ah and Jung Ha-na's ex, Choi Ki-jun, were upset and complaining. Oh-in-ah thought Jung Ha-na should not interfere, particularly bothered by last night's incident of a drunken Bong Cheol-hee embracing Jung Ha-na. Choi Ki-jun felt the same, not wanting Jung Ha-na to be too close to Bong Cheol-hee. The next day, the marriage fraud promotion team planned to feature Oh-in-ah and Bong Cheol-hee as the City Hall's first couple. Jung Ha-na strongly opposed this and demanded that no articles be published. Choi Ki-jun accused Jung Ha-na of being selfish, but she believed Oh-in-ah was at fault and, as a staff member, she should prevent it. The mayor was displeased. Jung Ha-na promised the mayor that she would help Bong Cheol-hee find a successful match, as her transfer to her desired department depended on resolving Bong Cheol-hee's marriage. Meanwhile, Bong Cheol-hee's brother secretly contacted Oh-in-ah demanding more money, or he would reveal her bribing him to take the children away. Bong Cheol-hee overheard this conversation. He had already suspected his brother and Oh In-ah's actions. Facing his brother's excuses, Bong Cheol-hee, unusually angry, stressed that family should be responsible for each other. His brother was somewhat persuaded and mentioned how Jung Ha-na had desperately stopped him from taking the children, implying that she was seen as Bong Cheol-hee's future wife. Grateful for her help, Bong Cheol-hee brought Jung Ha-na a lunchbox to express his thanks, appreciating her as his matchmaking officer. He decided to have a serious talk with Oh In-ah. That evening, Bong Cheol-hee returned the money Oh In-ah had given his brother. Oh In-ah apologized, thinking her actions would lessen Bong Cheol-hee's burden. But he disagreed, stating that his niece and nephew were never a burden and that family should not be sent away for money. Oh In-ah felt guilty. The next day, Bong Cheol-hee returned to the city hall to submit a marriage application, admitting he could not meet Oh In-ah's expectations and wanted to find a new marriage partner. Jung Ha-na agreed to help him. When a female colleague from the marriage fraud promotion team suddenly went into labor, Jung Ha-na and Bong Cheol-hee had no choice but to take her to the hospital. After making sure the pregnant woman was settled, Jung Ha-na noticed Bong Cheol-hee's hair was tousled from the ordeal. She gently fixed his hair, which stirred something in Bong Cheol-hee's heart. Fortunately, the colleague gave birth successfully, and her husband soon arrived at the hospital. As they watched the newborn, both Bong Cheol-hee and Jung Ha-na were filled with joy. Bong Cheol-hee asked Jung Ha-na if she wanted to have a cute child like their colleague. Jung Ha-na sighed lightly, expressing that even marriage was not in her plans, let alone children. To her, having a family seemed like a luxury that most people couldn't easily afford. Bong Cheol-hee reassured her not to think of it as too complicated from the start. That evening, after seeing everyone in the group chat celebrating the colleague's childbirth, Jung Ha-na felt mixed emotions and called her mother to discuss it. Her mother wished she could also experience the joy of motherhood, stating that the identity of the spouse wasn't as important as her daughter's happiness. Both Bong Cheol-hee's words and her mother's views shifted Jung Ha-na's mindset. Looking at what Bong Cheol-hee had written on an application form, that marriage is mundane but significant, warmed her heart. Perhaps Bong Cheol-hee and her mother were right. The most important aspect of marriage is the mutual feelings between the partners. The next day, Jung Ha-na took Bong Cheol-hee to a bookstore to help him select books for their marriage application. Bong Cheol-hee chose a children's picture book, but accidentally cut his finger on a page. Jung Ha-na quickly took out a bandage to care for the cut. Watching her, Bong Cheol-hee felt his heart stir again, sensing the romance of falling in love. This tender moment was secretly observed by Oh In-ah and Choi Ki-jun. Oh In-ah recalled Bong Cheol-hee's recent remarks, realizing he might have feelings for someone else, likely Jung Ha-na. That day, Choi Ki-jun asked Jung Ha-na if she had feelings for Bong Cheol-hee. After a moment's hesitation, she admitted she was indeed falling for the straightforward but sincere young man. Unfortunately, Bong Cheol-hee's interests were the exact opposite of Jung Ha-na's, which slightly annoyed her. However, Bong Cheol-hee blushed and couldn't meet her eyes, feeling embarrassed. To avoid revealing his feelings, he made an excuse to leave, but not before he tied Jung Ha-na's loose shoelaces. Back home, Bong Cheol-hee's face was very red, and his heart kept racing. He started answering questions about his ideal type on his phone, but he wasn't clear about what qualities his ideal girl should have. Jung Ha-na's best friend asked him if he was picturing someone in particular at that moment. Bong Cheol-hee smiled shyly, naturally thinking of Jung Ha-na. However, he also asked the friend if having different interests could hinder a relationship. The friend nodded, believing that opposing interests could make a couple's life exhausting. Bong Cheol-hee quickly argued, feeling that different preferences could expose them to new worlds, which was a good thing. Unconsciously, Jung Ha-na also thought about Bong Cheol-hee and even dreamed of him approaching her with flowers. After seeing them get along so well, Oh In-ah and Choi Ki-jun sighed repeatedly, worried that they might end up together. Recently, the marriage fraud promotion team was about to facilitate its first couple's marriage. The mayor directed the team to help the newlyweds prepare for their wedding. However, during a meeting, Choi Ki-jun noticed that Jung Ha-na was distracted, so he deliberately assigned her to be in charge of the newlyweds' wedding preparations. even taking a serious tone and stating that he would take over pairing Bong Cheol-hee. Upset, Jung Ha-na went to confide in Bong Cheol-hee. Her friend thought Jung Ha-na was being bullied by Choi Ki-jun. Bong Cheol-hee immediately picked up a knife, saying he needed to punish him. Jung Ha-na shared her worries that she might not be able to manage Bong Cheol-hee's pairing anymore. Bong Cheol-hee panicked and listed many reasons why he couldn't accept this. Without Jung Ha-na, the marriage fraud promotion team would be like marriage fraud to him. Jung Ha-na then smiled and promised to be responsible for Bong Cheol-hee to the end. The next day, Jung Ha-na started managing the first paired couple's wedding affairs. Unfortunately, the couple was too busy with work to plan their wedding, so they asked Jung Ha-na to handle everything. She quickly wrote a report and found a suitable wedding venue, then moved on to help choose new furniture and bedding for the newlyweds. Meanwhile, intending to buy pillows for his nephews and nieces, Bong Cheol-hee visited a furniture store. The salesperson recommended a mattress to him. Bong Cheol-hee tried lying on it and fell asleep because it was so comfortable. In a haze, he seemed to hear Jung Ha-na calling him husband and gently telling him to wake up. Hearing Jung Ha-na's voice, Bong Cheol-hee unconsciously smiled in his sleep. When he opened his eyes, to his surprise, Jung Ha-na was actually in front of him. She was there to help the couple test the size of the bed. Besides the bed, the couple even asked Jung Ha-na to help pick a wedding dress. Standing in front of a row of wedding dresses, Jung Ha-na decided to bravely face her past failed marriage experiences. She made a video call to the bride-to-be, and together with Bong Cheol-hee, introduced each wedding dress in the store. The bride-to-be liked one of them, and asked Jung Ha-na to try it on for her, while also asking Bong Cheol-hee to try on a groom's suit. The two complied. Bong Cheol-hee looked up while wearing a suit and saw Jung Ha-na in a wedding dress looking very beautiful. Jung Ha-na asked the clerk to take a photo of her and Bong Cheol-hee. As the camera snapped the picture, Bong Cheol-hee's gaze was fixed on Jung Ha-na. After the wedding dress fitting, they helped inspect a new house. Bong Cheol-hee accompanied her again and they discussed their preferences. Jung Ha-na liked apartments, while Bong Cheol-hee preferred detached houses. Their tastes were completely different again. Next, they viewed a second house, which another couple also liked. Seeing this, Bong Cheol-hee quickly grabbed Jung Ha-na's hand and ran. They couldn't let someone else take the house. In the struggle, the other couple fell behind, and Bong Cheol-hee and Jung Ha-na were the first to reach the house door. They hugged each other excitedly but quickly pulled away. After a busy day, Jung Ha-na had deeper insights about marriage. Two people from different environments suddenly had to adapt to each other, requiring a lot of effort and compromise. Bong Cheol-hee couldn't help asking Jung Ha-na how she felt being with him. She thought that although they had many different hobbies, at least their sense of humor was similar. She enjoyed being with Bong Cheol-hee, which made him uncontrollably happy again. He returned home exhausted and collapsed, his face flushed with excitement. That night, Jung Ha-na and Bong Cheol-hee reminisced about their interactions over time, from their initial playful fights to later finding common ground in humor and emotional moments. They realized they had shared many stories. The next day, Jung Ha-na received a wedding invitation from the couple, but unexpectedly, the couple arrived at the city hall arguing and intending to cancel the wedding. The woman wanted a simple wedding without gifts for relatives, which the man opposed. The man wanted to keep a dog at home, but the woman disliked animals. Jung Ha-na tried to persuade them to compromise. Originally, the couple matched well because of their similar interests. Unfortunately, they were unwilling to concede. The man's empathy for the dog was deep, but the woman felt the opposite, which the man couldn't accept. Jung Ha-na realized that in a relationship, what mattered most was not just matching interests, but a connection of hearts. After the first couple's failure, the mayor was dissatisfied and blamed Jung Ha-na, threatening to transfer her to the countryside if she didn't resolve the situation. Jung Ha-na felt wronged and confided in Bong Cheol-hee. She even held his hand, declaring she wouldn't be easily defeated and promised to find him a marriage partner. Looking into Jung Ha-na's eyes, Bong Cheol-hee couldn't contain his feelings and took her hand again, confessing his feelings with sincere and tender words. After his brave confession, Bong Cheol-hee awkwardly withdrew his hand, trying to explain his confession. Unexpectedly, Jung Ha-na moved closer and kissed him,